I have a theory that belief can change a life, especially when that belief comes from someone else. Hi, and welcome to the I Have a Theory series. My name is Rochelle Fox. You are listening to the Mindspo podcast. And oh man, I just got back from my parents' place. I'm currently in Sydney, Australia, which is where I grew up. And if you're new to this podcast, I'll give you a little bit of background info. I'm a digital nomad. I have been an expat and lived outside of Australia now for over 10 years. So I'm not someone that gets to spend a lot of quality time with my family. And when I do, it's actually quite emotional for me, I think. It brings up like a lot of feelings for me as a person. And I feel like I am someone that is quite nostalgic. I really love reflecting on the past and moments and memories. And I have so many beautiful, beautiful memories from my childhood and from my life. While at the same time, I also have some of my worst and most painful memories from my childhood and my adolescent life. And tonight was one of those nights where I really got to remember the good stuff, and it was just such a beautiful night. And I'm here on the podcast getting a little emotional with you because I was sitting at the dinner table with my dad and my stepmom Sue, and we actually had Nola there. And Nola is kind of like my grandma. She's not officially my grandma. Both my grandmas sadly passed away quite a long time ago. But she is just this woman that has been a grandma figure in my life for very many years. She's a family friend. And it was just so nice, just sitting with these people that I have known throughout my whole entire life that are really my safe people that I just have so much love for. And then my dad, out of nowhere, gets up as he always does. He's always doing something. I don't know if your dad's like this, but my dad just cannot sit still. He's always getting up. He's always doing something. He's always moving something. He's always checking on something. So he got up from the table and he went into the study, which is where our pictures are. And we all made a joke like, oh, he's gone to go get a picture. Long and behold, my dad comes back with this picture. I'm going to try and not cry on this podcast. Oh, here it comes. I cried at dinner when I saw this picture, and here I am thinking about it. It's making me cry again. It was this picture of my first ever school principal. His name was Mr. Duncan, and he was my principal in primary school. Now, I had one principal before that. I don't remember their name, and that was when I was like 5 and 6. But at the age of around 6, I actually moved schools. So my parents got divorced when I was around 4 or 5. And long story short, my mum originally got custody of me for a few years. God bless her. At the time, she really probably shouldn't have had custody of me. She was going through a really hard time. She was an alcoholic. There were some things that happened. And then my dad ended up getting custody of me, thankfully. And I started living my life with my dad. And it was just really me and my dad living together. He was my main caretaker and kind of like my mum, my dad, my everything. So when I moved in with my dad, I obviously moved schools. And at this new school, there was this principal called Mr. Duncan. And Mr. Duncan was this larger than life character. I feel like there are certain people that really are meant to work with children, and he was one of these people that was just destined to work with young people. And when I first moved to this school and I had kind of gone through this stuff with my mom and things that had happened in my childhood, I was in a really hard place as a kid at the time. Now I look back, I had like undiagnosed dyslexia and learning disabilities. I was very, very behind in school. I was quite awkward. I wasn't very good with socializing. I had like a lot of weird quirks, I would say, about me. And I think that was from like the trauma and the things that I had gone through when I was really little. And then when I had moved into this brand new public school, Mr. Duncan, the principal, he really took me under his wing. And he was this figure in my life that was larger than life. Oh my gosh, I need to not get so emotional in this podcast. And he had this ability to make me believe in myself in a way that no one else had ever made me believe in myself. When I was little, I always wanted to speak. I always wanted to do drama. I always wanted to act. I always wanted to perform. I've always loved that kind of stuff. And he was someone that constantly told me, Rochelle, you are a star. You should go up there on stage. You should go into these poetry competitions. You can go and enter these speeches, Stedfords. He really gave my dad as well, like a path and a way for me to express myself as a child. Because although I might have been a little bit socially awkward and I had some stuff going on, as soon as I got on a stage or as soon as I was able to read poetry or do something performance-based, I would just shine. I would go into my own little world and I would just be this very, very enthusiastic, dramatic at sometimes, but happy kid. That was where I was my happiest. And I wanted to share this with you today because, obviously it's a bit emotionally raw, if you can hear in my voice, but it made me realize when my dad pulled out this photo of Mr. Duncan tonight, how much just one person believing in you at some point in your life when you were really down and out, and maybe that person didn't exactly know all the things that had happened, but that one person saw something in you. They saw a little bit of light. They saw a little bit of hope. They saw a little bit of your spark. And instead of just ignoring it, like they really took you under their wing and they said, what, I think you're going to be amazing. And they really believed in you and they spoke truth and light and belief into you. How much that impacts your whole entire life. Because seeing that photo tonight, I was overwhelmed, like all of a sudden at this family dinner, like overwhelmed with emotion. I just burst out into tears. And it's because this person had such a profound impact on me in my life. And they believed in me so much when I feel like no one else saw my light. No one else believed in me. No one else really understood me. He was someone that like really could see into my soul and he spoke into my soul. And there were so many moments in my primary school years where he would just connect with me on the playground and he would talk to me, he would bring me into his office. He would just be this incredible figure in my life. And he had such a, like, I think back now and I'm like, wow, like I need to go find him. I was like to my dad, I was like, wow, I need to find his like full name. And hopefully he's still alive today. Like I would so love to send him a letter and just tell him like, hey, I've written a book now. Do you remember how I was like really dyslexic and how I was like this? And you know a little bit about my history. And well, look, I've spoken on stages now. Like he was this person that kind of started me even believing that that was possible for me. And it's made me realize, like sitting here today, how much I want to do that to other people. And I think maybe that's part of the reason why on this podcast, oh gosh, I sound like an emotional wreck. You guys are probably listening to this being like, whoa, this is not normal Rosh. All right, I'm going to pull myself together. But it's made me, I think, realize why I'm also such a cheerleader for other people and why I love speaking power into you. And I always say, I want nothing more than for you to be healthy, wealthy, abundant, and free. I want you to be the happiest version of you. I believe in you because I know what that feels like to have people in my life in little glimmers and moments and chapters in my life really believe in me and to really speak life into me and how that small little interaction with someone has impacted my whole entire life. And I'm definitely a words of affirmation person. So they say sticks and stones might break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And look, I'd like to say I'm not very affected by people's words, but I do really love positive reinforcement and positive encouragement. I'm a words of affirmation girl. That really lights me up as a person, as a soul. And I think that that's something that I've tried to pass down in my life because I know how much of an impact that has had on me. And I guess I just really wanted to remind you and just put this little feeling that I had tonight, that is a very personal feeling, out into the internet, out into the ether to whoever stumbles on this podcast, just to say, is there someone in your life? Is there someone that you know? Is there someone that you can see a spark in? That you could really take under your wing or that you could speak life into, or you could maybe just take a moment today to send them a really random message telling them like how much you believe in them, like how much you think that they have potential and you can see something in them. Because I really do think in this day and age, sometimes we all just need that. Sometimes we really need that person to believe in us. We really need that little bit of encouragement, we're not the only ones that have these big dreams and believe in ourselves, but other people also see our potential. And I think that looking back, I now know from just seeing Mr. Duncan's photo now, like, gosh, decades later, how emotional, I'm still feeling it now, like how emotional I feel seeing this person because of how much they impacted my life. And wouldn't that be such a beautiful thing for you to be able to do and to be able to have that impact on someone? It's really made me aware of how much I want to, continue to mentor people and to continue to be, someone that speaks life into people, because, oh my gosh, I don't think when we're on our deathbeds and when we are leaving this world, we're going to care about any of the earthly possessions that we have accumulated. We're not going to give a shit about the handbags and the shoes and the cars and the this and the that. Like, I'm not shitting on those things. They're great to have. You should go out there and get all of the things, get your bag, get your roses, get your possessions, do whatever you want. You're having a human experience. But at the end of the day, I also think that that connection that we have with humans, those memories that we have with humans, those moments that we have with people that really change our lives, they're really what make life worth living. So let this be your sign today to go and speak belief into someone, to be someone's mentor, to be someone's cheerleader, to be the person that sees the light in someone that maybe they don't see. And I think we are in such a time and age where people like hold back comments. They have thoughts, but they're not putting their comments out there. They're not saying it to the person. Like, we hold back so much emotion. And I don't ever want to be the kind of person who does that. I want to be the person that always says what I think and just like pours into people, because I think I know in, the few times, it's not like I've had a lot of these people in my life, but in the few times I've had certain people in my life that have said certain things to me, like how much I've held on to that. And look, just a caveat on this that I want to say, I become so profoundly aware in my life how little men are actually complimented. And I think women are so used to like having someone say, oh, you look great, or you're this, or you're that. And women have this thing where like other women will big you up, especially when you're little, right? But I think that there's a lot of times where I've had conversations with men and I've worked with men, and I've also read statistics on this where like men are just not complimented. They are not spoken life into the way that women are spoken life into. They kind of are expected to have like, a much more stoic, masculine, whatever you want to, define that as, but like a masculine approach to things. So, a little caveat here. If there is a man in your life that is doing a good job, maybe your husband, your partner, your dad, someone that you can just take a few moments to tell them how amazing they are and how much you appreciate them providing for you, how much you appreciate them putting in the hours or doing the things that they do, or protecting you or helping you or running the business or whatever it is they do. Because I do know for a statistical fact that that is not something that men get a lot of. And it's something I'm very aware of with the men in my life and the relationships that I have in my life with other guys and even my partner, to really be someone that speaks life into men, to compliment men, to be the cheerleader for other men out there. Because it's every single time I've ever given a guy a compliment, I've noticed how they've really held on to that and they've mentioned it years later. And there's this thing that Sol always says, which is like, if you give a man a compliment or if he hears something nice about himself, like that will fuel him for years. And I think it's just because men are complimented so little, and quite often they haven't got that level of like camaraderie or belief or motivation that sometimes women have. Anyway, that's a side note. That's today's podcast. If I talk any longer, I'll cry. So this is my theory that belief, especially belief from someone else, can completely change a life. Because Mr. Duncan definitely changed my life. And I wonder where I would have been if I never had this principle that believed in me and pushed me to speak and put myself out there and didn't tell me that I was a show off for being a drama queen, but instead, really encouraged me to be all of me. Because, yeah, he really made a difference in my life. Anyway, thank you for listening. I'm sending you so much love. I hope you go and take action from this one and just be the light and the ripple effect that you would like to see in the world. And as I always like to say, the best is yet to come. And never forget that you create your own reality. And in this case, you can also help co-create someone else's reality. So go out there and make some magic. Over and out, and I'll see you tomorrow.